All right, guys. So welcome back. One minute, please. Let me connect my devices. Okay. So we have some more new topic, guys, in this process of AWS training. So in last class, guys, we have discussed about auto scaling, or I can say auto scaling group, and I explain you how to use EC2 instances, or how to uh, you know how to use some kind of automate strategy or policy you can use if you want to scale your instances as per the load increase, or some more decision we can put over there. Okay, so a lot of thing about auto scaling group we had discussed in my last class. Some more practical will come up about the auto scaling in my future classes, where some kind of specific use case for the auto scaling come up. Okay, plus last week we also have discussed a lot of thing about RDS. Okay, so if you have a requirement for the SQL services, or RDBMS, services, then we have to go for RDS service. Okay, but those who by chance don't know what is RDBMS or SQL kind of services, maybe my in my upcoming classes when I talk about no SQL, there I can again give you a difference between what SQL do for you and what SQL doesn't do for you, and why we need to go for no SQL. Okay. So we'll discuss on those classes. But in the RDS services, we have discussed about the read replica, use case of the read replica, high availability, and some more concept about the RDS we had discussed. Okay. So today's, guys, if you for today's plan, uh, one. So today I would like to start a very new service. Name of the service is Route 53. Okay, and by chance, if we got the time today, they might not be possible. But if we get the time today, or maybe tomorrow, I will start one service. That is a different service, obviously. So name of service is called Global Accelerator. Accelerator. Okay, so again, very interesting service, some kind of new service in the AWS, and anybody who wanted to appear for the global exam for AWS CSA examination, right? So from the latest paper of 2020 or maybe 2021, they also add some more thing. So this is one new topic they have added in your program. Very interesting service, very powerful service. We will discuss. So maybe today or tomorrow I will talk about what is global accelerator, and how it is different from Route 53, and how it is different from CloudFront. So what is CloudFront? Front we had already discussed, but again you will see a very quick summary again one more time tomorrow when I start the global accelerator. Okay, so today, guys, the main plan and main time we are going to spend on Route 53. Okay, and I also believe you guys, most of the guys are very new in the networking world, or maybe there might be possibility you guys are not so much comfortable with DNS. Okay, so Route 53 is just a managed services for the DNS server. Okay, so if you want to work on Route 53, then you should be very much comfortable with some of the concept of the DNS, and the use cases of the DNS. Okay, so I just want to spend some time on the very basics concept of the DNS, plus some more advanced concept of DNS also, because for a lot of guys might think a lot of guys might think DNS is just only used to convert your name or host name or domain name into the IP address. Okay, so but DNS is not only for converting the name into the IP address. This is one of the core duty of the DNS. Otherwise, which is a very powerful thing. DNS, using the DNS, tons of extra things or extra facilities they provide to us. Okay, so let me start with this particular concept. So my plan is to first give you maybe half of the today's class might go in talking about the concepts of the DNS. Okay, so yeah, by chance in the AWS training, like we are into the AWS CSA or the developer track, it has been considered that you guys has a prerequisite that you guys know already DNS, and actually we have to move to Route 53 to configure this service. But I told you, maybe we think we might know, but there might be a lot of use case also that DNS can do for you that mostly or most of the times we might don't know. Okay, so let me start with this use case, then I will start discussing about the DNS. Okay, so today's the process would be, I'll start with the DNS, then we'll slowly move to a managed service of DNS called Route 53, and then Global Accelerator. This is the agenda for today or maybe for tomorrow. Okay, so let me start from here. Okay, everybody know here what is the load balancer, because about the load balancer we discussed a lot. So there's three different kind of load balancer we discussed: ALB, ALB, NLB, and CLB. But if you talk about the high level, the use case of a load balancer is pretty same. Okay, so use case of load balancer is if you have one of the instances running, let's say EC2 instance, and due to some of the reason, right, if the load increase, okay, I don't want my client will wait for this applications to serve to us. We will launch one more instance here. One more instance here, and my load balancer, my ELB will balance the load. Okay, this is one of the duty of load balancer. But the one more duty of the load balancer is whenever guys you configure any of the load balancer, like here ELB we have. Okay, ELB we have. So they also do one more thing for us. They keep on doing the health checking. And one of the good thing about the health checking is your load balancer will automatically come to know that you have one backend system, let's say IP1 goes down, because they know it goes down. So now any request come up in the future, the load balancer is keep on sending and getting the service from IP number 2, for example. So this is again wise guys one more benefit your elastic load balancer will provide to you. Okay, so it is like a fail. If something fail, IP1 fail, the automate detected with the help of health checks, and they will connect the next request to IP number 2, or maybe you have more backend system running IP number 3, they connect to IP number 3. Okay, so till here you guys know, and I have shown this demo and practical also to you. Okay, now the point here is, right, what if, and this is the very common queries almost everybody think if they really do this practical, right, and always they ask, what if your entire elastic load balancer goes down? Because technically if you ask to the AWS and ask what is the ELB, so they say ELB is just one device, because there are a lot of devices available in the market, also known as appliances, that will provide you a facility of load balancers. Or maybe there are a lot of programs and software also available, they provide you a facility of load balancer. But program guys can crash any point in time, device maybe goes down, or maybe corrupt maybe at any point in time. So if you ask AWS, can you provide me, can you please tell me the durability of this device? Okay, does this device or this program would be 100% durable, or can you provide me the high availability of this device? Does this device is always be available? So nobody guys in the world, even though the cloud like AWS and Google has one of the biggest infrastructure in the in the globe, right? But even though they will also not give you the 100% guarantee. Okay, so they any point in time this device or this program may goes down, and we guys know the client is always connect to the endpoint or the IP of the ELB. And obviously if ELB goes down, or maybe wherever we're running this ELB, we have to run the ELB in one of the AG or one of the data center, let's say one A data center. Okay, if the entire data center goes down, so no, none of the company gonna help us in this kind of disaster. So as a good disaster plan or disaster recovery strategies, what we have to do. So the good plan always say, uh, always create at least two elastic load balancers, two elastic load balancers, or maybe three elastic load balancers. Okay, and and obviously they put some instance behind this guy. So let's say this IP4, this IP5, and this IP6. And if somebody connect to this instances, we connect this guy to these instances. Or maybe you can ask this elastic load balancer to connect to these instances also, like this. And these guys connect to these instances. So all the front end load balancers is connected to the backend, all the backend server. But why we launch multiple backend system to balance the load or something fail? So my load balancer will tackle this part with the help of health check. But why we launch two elastic load balancer? Let's say one of the IP of the load balancer is IP100, and one of the IP of the load balancer is IP200. So why we will launch two load balancer? And guys, this part we have to, even though Amazon say they are launching multiple load balancer behind the scene to give you capability of durability. So that's what they're talking about. They say this is the managed service of the load balancer, so I will take care about the management of the load balancer, so you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about to create two load balancer by yourself. But okay, but they create only per AGs. Okay, or they are not giving 100% guarantee, but there might be requirement you want to create a load balancer that will balance the load across the region. So what I mean by this, we will guys, we will talk about this point. But main point is here, if you say no, I am not pretty sure about the facilities provided by the load balancer or management by the AWS, any point in time this device goes down. So I will manually myself launch one more load balancer. Now point is here guys, now we have two load balancers. Okay, and why you launch, you guys will discuss. One of the goes down, my client will come to second one. But in this case, client has to remember two IP addresses, IP100 and IP200. And that is guys one of the reason why we introduce a reverse proxy. Okay, because client don't have to remember two IP or maybe three load balancers you launch, or three IP addresses. So what client do? Client first type IP100. If the load balancer is working, great. They give the reply back to the client. But maybe this point in time, this load balancer is down. So client has to manually type in the browser IP200 and connect to this load balancer. So this facility obviously guys is not good, good user experience for the client. Okay, so technically we want a program again, one more program between the client and between the load balancers. Okay, it is exactly same what we discussed in my load balancing classes. So between these computers, my client don't have to type IP one by one to all the instances. Okay, which one is down, which is up, which has a proper which one is ready to reply on my request. So we add one program called load balancer. The same kind of scenario again is come up here. Now we have multiple load balancer and we have a client, and I want my client don't remember all the IP and manually type one by one all the IP. So we have to add one more program between the client and between the load balancer. And the beauty of this program is same thing. We'll tell this program that you have two backend system. Now by chance this two backend system is IP100 or IP200, by chance they are load balancer, but you have two backend servers. Okay, they're running on some port number, and whenever anybody reaches to that guy you will get your reply whatever request you have. So again, this program is helping to do a load balancing. But this time, this program is doing the load balancing in the backend system, and that backend system is Elastic Load Balancer, or maybe any other load balancer also, or maybe some kind of other instances also. But typically, this kind of setup we can provide. Okay, and the good thing about this program is, maybe somebody might ask, and this is a very common query. Somebody might ask, what if this program goes down? Okay, so who will manage the further failover? Okay, so answer is, guys, this program never goes down. Okay, the program that is created in such a way. Okay, this particular program I'm talking about, who is helping to balance the load between multiple load balancer. This program, guys, never goes down. This program goes down when your internet goes down. You can think in this way. And if you ask, do you think internet goes down? Answer is no. Maybe our internet goes down at our home, at our office, but I'm talking about the overall global internet. Okay, does the global internet goes down? As such, no. Same thing you can say here, because our internet is somehow mostly based on this program. Everywhere we use this program. Okay, so this program is so much interesting, so much powerful in the terms of durability. It never goes down. Why? We will discuss today. So name of this program who helping me to balance the load between multiple instances, or here in this case multiple load balancer. The name of this program is called DNS, domain name system. Okay, so I know a lot of guys know about DNS, but but DNS, one of the use case of the DNS is you can use DNS for load balancing also. This is one of the feature of DNS. Okay, otherwise there's lots other feature of the DNS also. We are going to discuss multiple features about DNS in today's class. Okay, and this is the actual infrastructure normally used by other company. If you go to facebook.com, if you go to google.com, all right, you always hit to the load balancer provided by the DNS of Google, or provided by DNS server of the Amazon, or of the Facebook or XYZ. You always hit to the load balancer, and that load balancer will connect to multiple computer working behind the Google DNS server, and all those computer what is working behind are the Google DNS or the Amazon or Facebook load balancer. And behind the load balancer, they may be running millions and thousands of devices to serve you. What I mean by this, we guys create this entire scenario. Okay, so if you have this kind of use case, who will balance the load between the multiple load balancer, here the ELB. Okay, then DNS is the final one who will balance the load. And technically DNS is one kind of program or one kind of server. It will never goes down. Okay, it will be live there till the time internet is live in the world. You can think this way. Why? For this you have to understand the DNS first. So guys, we will again come back to this topic or this particular use case in a minute. Okay, but before this I just want to explain you some more basics concept about the DNS. Okay, to think in a mind that most of guys are very much new in the DNS. So let's start with the first topic today. What is DNS? Okay, so you can think in this way. If you one computer want to connect to second computer, right, in the internet or normal network, we always use the IP address. Okay, we always use the IP address. But sometimes, guys, because let's say this is A computer or this is B computer, and if A want to connect to B, the only challenge is A have to remember the IP address of the B. Okay, because computer only understand the IP address. You can think in this way for the connectivity. Okay, but it's not about to A have to remember only B IP address. A has to maybe remember hundreds of IP address of different computers. So what can we do? We can do one small management here. It is the same management that you do in your mobile phone also. And normally, guys, we don't. If you dial a call mobile number from one mobile to second mobile number, mobile need a mobile number. But normally, the way we store the mobile number in our phone book with the name. So we always dial the number or dial the call with the name. But your phone directory or your telephone directory will convert the name into the mobile number, and mobile used to dial the number. Okay, same thing you can do also. We can create one local phone book here, right? And we can write here and say, if we would like to dial, or we want to connect, or SSS or HTTP, or do a ping to this IP address, we don't have to now remember this IP address. We are going to give this IP name. Let's say this computer belong to Vimal, so I can give a name to this computer Vimal. So this is the kind of database we can create. Now what happened? Now in the future, if you want to ping to this IP, either you can use this IP, or either you can use this particular name. This particular name. Okay, so technically we can create a local database for this. And for creating local database, either in Windows or either in Linux operating system, you guys might know there's a local file in Linux and Windows, and the file name is called etc host. So there's a file called host. It is available in Windows, Mac, and Linux also. This file is used to create our own local phone book for the mobile, so for the IP addresses here. Okay, but technically, in the world, especially in the internet, okay, if you have 4, 5, 10 computers, you can create your own records here. Very quickly, I just want to show you. It's not maybe not so much important here, but maybe if you want, I'll show you how to create a local record. But if internet is big, and normally we deal with the internet, or we work with the internet. So internet means, if you go to one of the IP 8.8.8, it might not belongs to your company, but you can use this IP. Maybe this IP of Google or Facebook, but you can use, because it is a network, and on which we have a connect. Okay, but if you want to use this IP or any of the IP, right, very harder for us to remember the IP. Even though if I ask you very simple question, right, every day almost everyone use google.com. And understand one thing, your computer, whenever you type google.com, your computer never understand what is google.com or what is www.google.com. Okay, they never understand how to reach to this name. Or your computer guys always convert this name into the IP address internally to connect. Okay, but if I ask this question to you, do you know the IP of Google? Do you know the IP of Instagram or Facebook? Okay, I don't think so. Anybody over here remember this? Maybe you can find there's a different point, but nobody SS remember this. Okay, but without knowing the IP, your computer is your computer mobile device never able to reach to those servers or those computers, right? So my point guy here is, we are so much dependent on the database. Okay, and somebody in the world has to maintain database of all the IPs and all the names. Okay, so if you have your own personal 510 computer, you can create your own local database in the file called host file in your Linux and Windows system. Very quick demo, very simple demo. I just want to show you here. But if you talk about the big world, big internet or big network like internet, we have millions and millions of IPs. So it is very harder or impossible for everyone in their computer first go and create the local database by their or by themselves, to put all the IPs and their respective names. Even though the most frequently used website, Google, we don't remember their IP also. Okay, so that is a reason, guys. In the internet, we had created one centralized database, and this centralized database um, is managed by somebody. And who's that somebody, we will discuss in a minute. So this central database is managed by somebody. And this database, guys, we maintain all the IPs in the world, with their respective names. Name, like here I given the name called, for example, Vimal, for their respective name. Okay. So one simple demo, right, to show you local database. So if you want to guys create a local database, for example, let's say I want to ping to this IP, and for me remembering this IP is very harder. Okay, so what can I do? I can go to one of my local file. So this is a file, guys, located in the Linux. I'll go to this file, and in this file I can say now onwards this IP will be known by the name called Vimal. You can give any name whatever you feel like. So first you have to give first you have to give the IP address, and then you have to give some name or multiple name. You can also give Vimal. I can say LW. I can say A. So either you can use this IP or this name or this name or this IP. It is the same thing. Means now if you try to ping with the IP would be your choice. But if you think you don't want to remember this IP, you can use my name also. But if you guys see here, computer never know understand the name. First, computer will go to your local database, convert this name to the respective IP, and that IP they will connect and ping. So now you can use this IP or this IP or this IP, any of the IP you can use. And by chance, if you give more than one name to one IP, so the remaining name would be known as aliases or nickname. So for this IP, I given multiple aliases or multiple nicknames. This is one thing. Okay, and by the way, this is known as IP address, and this is the name of that computer and this IP we have given to you, given over here. Okay, so and guys, this name is normally known as computer name or normally known as host name. So I can say this is the one of the IP belongs to somebody, but I have given my own name. It is something like phone book, right? In the phone book, you can give your own name, whatever name you want to give to particular mobile number. So I can say this host, I have given my own name. So I can say Vimal is one of the host name of this IP. LW is also one of the host name of this IP. So anybody can go to their own computers and they can give any of the IP address. So if you have 5, 10, 10, 20 computers, you can give. That's very simple. But if you talk about the broader way, broader world, that is called internet, millions of IPs we have, uh, giving every IP your own name. Okay, and typing here it would be very harder. First of all, guys, can you connect from your computer to other computer with IP? Yes, but do you know the IP? That is no. Or if you don't know the IP also, we can't create our local database. If you think in this way also. Okay, so that is the reason there's somebody in the world, and they create some centralized database, and they create a record for all the IPs and all their respective name, and they create a name or they put the name in this database in such a way that every IP will have some unique name. Okay, and they also follow some convention here. For example, here I use any name like Vimal or LW or A. That would be your choice. Whatever name you want to give, that would be your choice. But somebody or some community, I can say, has decided for the internet or for the networking, or and they said always try to give some name that uniquely identify the computers. What I mean by this, okay, for example, there's a three computer in the internet. There's IP1 or there's IP2 or there's IP3. This IP maybe belongs to you. You might have given this IP name LW. This IP belongs to me. I also give the name LW. So this is my phone book. This is my local database. I can give any name here. Okay, so if IP3 want to ping to LW. So finally, it will be a lot of confusing come up, or there will be very harder in the terms of network management also. That finally this IP gonna ping to IP1 or IP2 belongs to my computer or belongs to your computers. Okay, so technically somebody come up with some solution over here, and they say if you want to give some computer a name that's called host name, always try to give some unique names that uniquely identify this computer in the over the internet. Okay, and nobody will have the same name. same name, whatever somebody give to this IP, and whatever somebody give to this IP. Okay, maybe there might be possibility somebody want to give this computer name LW, somebody want to give this computer same name LW. But even though if they give the same name, but they will uniquely identify. How? So you can think in this way. Let's say this is the one of the computer belongs to my company. Let's say my company name Vimal, and this IP belongs to one other company. And let's say this IP belongs to a company called Google, for example. So what can we do? They say because your company name may be unique in the world, this company name may be unique in the world, and nobody has the same name. Okay, so what can you do? So all the computer that you have in your company, obviously they will have a different IP address, unique IP in the world. Because if you talk about public IP, you guys know if IP1 belongs to me, there's a public IP, so nobody have in the world will have the same public IP. Similarly, if my computer has a name LW and somebody want to use the same name, they can use. But how they differentiate with the company name? Let's say by chance Vimal here, so I can and with dot Vimal, and here they end with dot Google. So we suggest this guy that if you want anybody in the internet want to connect to you, always use this naming convention. Give your computer name whatever you feel like. You want to give LW a name to a computer, you want to give a station one this name to the computer, or you want to give www name to the computer, or you want to give mail name to the computer. You can give any name to the computer, but in the final, attach your company name. Okay, but they also say that we also follow one some more convention here. Okay, because now this naming convention becomes so much popular, and and now a lot of guys companies are there on the internet, and they want to use their computer on the internet or their server on the internet. So now we start differentiating these companies with their business also. So it will also help them to doing their business well. So we asked Google, can you tell me what kind of business line you have? So they say, I want on the internet somebody recognized me that I am a commercial company, so I can use Quam. We will say, can you tell me some about your company? I say, I think I should be recognized with India. So that is the reason. So we will say in the Vimal company, in the last we write .in here, in the Google we write .com here. That is this company decide. This company decide. But technically, I believe most of guys know this. Technically, let's say I have my own company. Let's say Vimal Enterprises or Vimal Incorporation. Okay, so this company can decide on the internet all of my computers. IP will be unique, obviously, but on the internet, right, my all the computer will be come under a domain called vimal.in, or under a network called vimal. But by chance, guys, this is called a domain name. Okay, but if I am using this domain, nobody in the world will gonna use this domain. Okay, it would be unique for me. Somebody can use vimal.com, is a different thing. Vimal.ac.in, that is also different thing. But if I purchase this domain, okay, somebody somebody in the internet managing these guys, those are known as domain registrars, right? Registrars. So they are the one who maintain. If somebody purchase this domain, because we have to purchase this domain. Okay, if somebody purchase this domain, nobody can purchase. So if somebody purchase google.com, nobody can purchase this domain. Okay, so there's called domain registrar. There are a lot of company in the market who work as a domain registrars, where you can go and purchase the domain monthly, yearly, 2 yearly charges they take from you. For example, one of the example is GoDaddy. One of the example is Amazon AWS services. So if you go to Amazon and if you say, Amazon, do you have any domain registry with you where I can come and purchase some domain? Obviously, what is available can I purchase? So I will say yes, why not? I also nowadays work as a domain registry. Just pay me per per yearly of $12 or $15, depend upon which kind of uh, this domain you want to use. Do you want to use in or com or .io? This was called guys top level domain. So which top level domain you want to use? Okay, so it will be your choice, whatever name you want to use. So it is not compulsory that you are a commercial company that you have to use com only. You can use org also, but normally company will try to uh, tell their business line that I am a commercial company, I am the company belong for India, from Australia, from US. So accordingly they plan, or maybe some techie company, so I use IO. Okay, so this is one of my practical today, guys. I will show you how to purchase the domain with the domain registry of the AWS. So this is one of the practical I will show you today. Okay, now this is one thing. So after you purchase the domain, okay, who purchase? I purchase. Okay, I after purchase the domain, let's say my domain name is vimal.in. It is just a name. What this name represent? That this belongs to me. Okay, and I am the owner of this domain. So nobody will use this domain. And now what can I do with this domain? So I'll do one thing. I'll do one thing. I will go and launch one web server, and this web server I would be launched anywhere in the world, maybe in my local laptop, maybe in the EC2 service. Let's say I launch this web server in EC2 instance, and I attach some public IP here. Let's say IP would be 100. And I know anybody who know this public IP from the internet, they can come to me and connect to my web server. But I just want to give a better facility to my customers. I don't want they will remember my IP better than they remember my company identity. And normally nowadays, company identity is represented with your domain name. Okay, so I want they will come to with my company identity, or plus they don't know. I don't want they will remember my IP. For them, remembering the things will be very simple for the human being. If we give some names. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll give my computer a name. Let's say I'll create my own database. I'll create my own database. Who create? I create, and what I have the account in AWS. Why I have the account in AWS? One of the reason is I want to purchase the domain. This is one of the basic requirement. And second requirement is, right, because this domain I purchased from AWS, right? So AWS has given me a facility to create a database there. What kind of database? Database where I can tell that one of my computer IP running in my account, or maybe somewhere, okay, IP 100, and I want to give this computer a host name. Okay, which host name? Maybe I want to give a host name XYZ. Okay, so finally, if somebody wanted to come to IP 100, now it would be their choice. Either they type the IP address or they type xyz.vimal.m. But normally, guys, as a good practice, we always try to give a computer or a host computer name. It's called host name. Uh, mm, uh, that name that will represent what exactly the server is doing for us. And we know the server is for web server. So typically, it is normally trained in the market. We always give a web server computer a host name called www. So, guys, anybody who think www has some technical meaning, there is no technical meaning. It is just a name of the computer that is somebody has given and put in some database. It is just a host name or the computer name. You can give anything, but normally as a trend we use www. So I can say this company, this guy say means I say I can say to my entire clients that if you want to connect to my web server, just come to www.vimal.in. If you do so, if you do so, you don't have to remember my IP address. Automatic your name will be converted to the IP address, and after your name convert, your computer will connect to my server. Okay, now interesting thing is, important thing is here. Okay, who will decide this name? Okay, the owner of the domain. And who is the owner? I'm a person here, and I have the account in AWS or some other cloud or some other provider, maybe registrar maybe. So we are the one who decide this name. Okay, but the point is, guys, here, if you decide your name, so you have to create your own database. And database we have to write I have IP 100. This is the name. I have IP 200. The name of 200 is mail.vimal.n. So this database we have to create. But what is the final use of this database, right? This database help my clients on the internet. So it is, again, I'll come back to this diagram now. This one, let me again create a fresh one. So right now, for example, in my laptop, if I type www.google.com, or let me let me type www.vimal.in. If I type, okay, and if we ask my laptop, can you able to ping to this IP or this name? Laptop say, no, I don't understand. I don't understand any of this. Sorry, any of this name. I only understand IP address. So by default behavior of your laptop, your mobile phone is, if somebody type any name in your command line or maybe in the browser, your laptop by default automatically send a request to their one of the server, and say, you are my server and your duty is, I am coming to you to know the IP of this, because till the time I know the IP, I won't able to connect, because my laptop or any OS in the world only understand the IP address. So can you help me and provide the IP of this guy? So the server say, okay, the server say, by chance internet is big, there's lots of computer, lots of computer, and every computer we have some public IP, and every computer owner normally give their own name also. Okay, so I don't know the IP of this guy, or this guy, or this computer name, I can say. Okay, but I know one thing. I know one thing. This name is belongs to a domain called vimal.n. Okay, so I can help you. I can help you to go there, ask the owner of this domain, database guy, this one, this database guy, and ask, do you have any information about this name? By chance they had IP 100. So this system, this system will somehow go to internet somewhere and try to find, there's a long process for this, but they try to find uh, who is the owner of vimal.in. They're trying to find. Okay, understand one thing, guys. They are trying to find the owner of this domain database here. And as soon as they reach to this particular database, they ask this database, or I can say they query this database, do you have any information about www.vimal.in? Or I can say www. They say, yes, we have. And they say, I have information, that's called IP 100, or what are the full IP they have. Okay, so this database, reply, yes, I have the information, and they reply to this server, and this server will reply to your laptop. Okay, and after your laptop get the IP address, okay, obviously after you get the IP address, you can do and connect to whatever IP 100 internally for you. It is something like this. So technically, in this whole process, if you talk about this server, this server is looking at your domain name, whatever you want to connect, looking at your domain name, and try to help you to convert this full name into the IP address. And for this, they don't have a local database, but they will go and find somewhere and retrieve that information from some system. Okay, so I can say this server is my domain name server, or the full name is called domain name system server, DNS. DNS. Okay, so this is one of my DNS server. Okay, but this DNS server is doing one thing for you. They say, I am a DNS server from your laptop, but I don't have the information, but I can help you for finding this information from somewhere. That easy reason, guys, this DNS server is known as forwarding DNS server. Forward. Okay. So this DNS server where we don't have any database actually, because technically every home right now, you're sitting at your home maybe, every home you have your own personal DNS server. But I don't think so, guys. None of the guys in your DNS server have manually go and write the IP of Google, IP of Facebook. No, nobody has right. Okay, so I can also use one word here, might not be relevant word, but you can say, mm, right now your server is work as a domain name system. Okay, but it's kind of null. Null means they don't have any database. They are helping you and forwarding your request to somebody else and try to help. Okay, but the main system where the forwarding and finding, okay, also what they're running on one kind of server. Again, this server is also known as a DNS server. But this is the actually this DNS server where you actually find the record of this domain are known as master DNS, or maybe also known as primary DNS. So this is the primary DNS, or I can say the right word, not primary, better word would be master DNS. Okay, so this is also one of the computer mm, running here, running here. Who is managing? I am the one who has the AWS account. So in my AWS account, I create my own database, and here I update this information. Okay, by chance, this database here is not known as database. Here, this database is known as zone. Okay, this is not easy. Easy is a different thing. You guys know everybody's zone. Here, this database is known as zone. And when you guys create this information here, every information here is known as record. Okay, so we will I log into for my account after I purchase my domain. Okay, I create one of my zone here for this domain, and in this domain I just go and create multiple records as much I want here. Okay, and this database, because is there in my account, and this my account is my AWS account. Okay, so your local DNS server. Okay, by the way, guys, this local DNS server is normally available in your broadband. So anybody who has a broadband modem, okay, that broadband modem come normally with a DNS server. Technically, they don't have any database, but they work for us for a laptop or for a mobile phone as a real DNS, but they don't have. But how they work? They just forward all the requests and try to find uh, actual master DNS. Master means master database, means master zone for this domain. This domain. And after they reach to this guy, and there's also process, guys. Again, we are not purely in the DNS classes, but there's a lot of process behind the scene, the way they reach to this database, right? And 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 take the record from there. Okay, and they give back to you. And after they give back to you, okay, so this master DNS also feel that maybe your laptop or final user gonna come multiple time to me again and again, because when you guys hit to any website, you keep on refreshing the page, and if you keep on refreshing the page and keep on refreshing the page, every time your request from the laptop always go to your DNS, and DNS will send to main DNS. They will reply back. So unwanted, guys, every refresh you keep on coming to me, it will unwanted slow down you also, and it also unwanted hit me multiple time. Obviously it will hit my performance. So normally your master DNS, whenever they reply first time, for example, what they reply that if you come to me what Vimal, www.vimal.in name. Okay, and for this domain name, and inside this domain you come for this particular host name. Okay, and so guys, in this in the company name, by the way, this www is known as host name, this part is known as domain name, and the entire part sometimes also known as host name, but it is not technically known as FQDN, fully qualified domain name. So it's a full name of your computer. fully called for domain. So this entire name, either you can say FQDN or you can say sometimes also known as host name. But the initial part is known as host name, and remaining part is known as domain name. So your DNS say you're coming to me with this host name, and I'm replying this host name has IP 100. So this information I am giving to your local server, your forwarding server. Okay, that normally you have in your uh, modem. Okay, normally you have in a modem, or normally if you use a hotspot also on mobile phone, they also come with this kind of DNS server program. Okay, so I am the master server. I'm asking your local server to also do one more facility and provide you a one more facility. The facility is called caching facility. So cache this information for some seconds and then give information to you. So that if you again come to me, your local server again don't again find me on the internet, and don't again hit me for same information and give to you. So they always next time they will give this information from their caches. Okay, and that is the reason your local server is also known as cache DNS server or cache only DNS server. So there's a lot of kind of DNS server available in market: master server, forwarding DNS server, cache only server, secondary DNS. So or I can say slave DNS. So I'm not going to do those different topics because we are not on the pure DNS configuration topic, but this is some of the concept we might use in today's class. Okay, so typically your laptop is always connected with one of the DNS server. Otherwise, if you're not connected with any of the DNS server, and if you try to type any of the name like Facebook or Google, it never work. Okay, if you guys very easily work, why? Because behind the scene, my laptop is connected to one of my local DNS server. That local DNS server work as a forwarding server. They send to the main Google database here. Why Google? Because I connect to google.com. So Google maintain their own database for their domain name. That's called, I can say, they have their own authority of google.com database zone, I can say. And they reply from there the IP address. My laptop get the IP address. A laptop get the IP address, and internally my laptop connect. Okay, but at the same time, my local DNS server also create a cache. So next time I again refresh, okay, getting the IP of this guy would be very fast because I'm getting IP from my local copy. Okay, but one more thing I just want to tell you here. Here is your main system who maintain actually the database of all the computers. Okay, for example, in this case, the guy who own Vimal.in, okay, their database, they decide when they reply to the when they reply to the forwarding server and asking them to create a cache of it. So how longer the cache will be maintained. Okay, so maybe for 1 minute or 2 minute or 1 day or 2 day. So they decide how long the cache will be maintained there. Okay, so that's called, guys, time to live, TTL, time to live. So whenever any master computer reply to a forwarding server and asking them to create a cache, because they also work as a cache server. Okay, so they're asking this information, www.vimal.com or vimal.in, with this IP address, this information you have to store in your caches for, let's say, for 120 seconds. Means after 120 second, okay, you have to forget this information. So after 120 second, any laptop again come to you, you again come to me, ask for the new information. Maybe IP might change or maybe same, whatever that you have that point in time. I will keep the information again, store for 120 seconds, and from your local database, keep on giving to your local network or local clients. it is it work like this. So technically, guys, the final conclusion is we don't have to actually discuss in that much level. Okay, in this training, but as if I try to conclude, if I try to conclude, okay, in the simplest term, from your mobile phone or laptop, if you want to connect to some of the server, let's say www.google.com. Okay, so from a laptop you want to connect to server B. Okay, your laptop never directly connect to this guy. They always contact to DNS server. So laptop contact to DNS server and say, I have a name, or I have the host name, or technically right what is called, I have FQDN. Can you help me to find the IP of this? Now is this DNS will somehow find very high level. I explain you by this forwarding and all those things. Okay, but this DNS will somehow find the IP, and they give the IP of this host name. And after laptop get the IP, internally they use the IP for the connectivity. So this is the simplest diagram you can think of. And by chance, guys, by chance, DNS is helping to convert the IP, sorry, convert the name into the IP. This concept is called lookup, and is also known as resolve. Okay, so um, um, so DNS help us to look up or resolve the name into the IP address. And this kind of lookup is also known as forward lookup. Means if somebody give a name and asking to convert into the IP, this is known as forward lookup. And there might be some scenario come up, guys, in the networking world. I don't know, have you seen this kind of scenario or not, but there's some application they say, I know the IP, can you help me to find the name or host name or FQDN name? Okay, normally we don't see this scenario, no, very normal, but there's a lot of applications in the market who say, I know the IP for, but some reason I want to know the name. For example, I know the IP 8.8, but I just want to know the name of this computer or host name of this computer. Okay, one of the application is mail application. So anybody who in the mail, the so for doing some kind of saving us from the some kind of attack or phishing attacks, some mail server use this concept. How, again, is not important. Okay, but technically there's some scenario where where you know the IP and you have your program, you or your program will wanted to know their name. And this is guys called reverse lookup. Okay, so in the DNS world, this is the normal term forward or reverse, but then the DNS has their own keywords for this, and this keyword is called type. So in the DNS, if you want to convert the name into IP, this is called A type. And if you want to convert the IP into the host name, it's called PTR type. So like this, there are a lot of type available in the DNS. A type, PTR type, NS type, okay, MX type, SOA type. So we will discuss, guys, in today's class. Okay, this is again simplest example. Okay, so technically, technically, if you try to conclude, okay, it means if I say this statement that all the computer in the world normally have a name that's called domain name. Okay, domain name is not the right term, I can say, because because if I say my computer has a domain name or my server has a domain name, is not the right term, because domain name looks something like this, vimal.in. It is just a name. Like it, this name represent that we have a lot of computer and all the computer has a name and with this one. Okay, for example, one of the computer I have, maybe this is a computer having the IP 0.1, and this computer I have given a name called server 1. But if somebody asks, computer, can you tell me the full name? I can say server1 dot vimal dot in. So I can say this IP or this computer belongs to this domain. Similarly, I have one more computer here. Okay, having IP 192.168.0.2. And let's say this computer I have given the name called mail, but full name is mail.vimal.in. Again, this computer host name is mail, is belong to same domain. I can say the full name of this computer is this one. So anybody from the outside world want to connect want to connect to this IP, they can use this name, and this name will help uh, that particular client to connect to this computer. Okay, but the summary here is the important summary here is sorry, the important summary here is who maintain the DNS database. Again, I'm repeating, guys, who maintain the DNS database? There is somebody centralized company or centralized body in the internet? Answer is no. Every company normally maintain their own DNS database. Okay, so let's say my company name is Linux World. I purchase a domain. This is my choice. This one, and in this domain, right? From this domain, I will. Uh, I have given two computer a different name. This is server one and meal. Both the guys' name I have associated with my domain. Okay, and this name has this IP. This name has this IP. Where I maintain a database. Where in my personal database, or I can say database is not the right term, in my personal zone. Okay, and how I can create my personal zone? By creating my own personal DNS server. Or because in my DNS server, I'm going to create database, or my zone is the same thing. Or I'm going to create a record for IP1, name server1. For IP2, name mail. Or because this is my own personal database, and this database belongs to my own domain. So I can say I am the authoritative server for my domain, or I can say I am the master server for on my own DNS server. I can say in this way. So it means if you see facebook.com, Facebook maintain their DNS, Google maintain their DNS. Our company domain name is called lwindia.com, so we maintain our DNS. So all the domain guys you've seen till date, everybody is maintaining somehow. Somehow, maybe sometime they might not realize, but somehow they are maintaining their own DNS databases. By chance, it's not known as databases, they maintain their own zones. Or I can say they maintain their own records. Okay, so that is the reason I am saying DNS server never goes down. Never goes down, because everybody, like, like internet, if can you say internet goes down? No. The thousands of network connect to each other, thousands of IPs connect or ISPs connect to each other. Similarly, millions and millions of DNS server connect to each other. Okay, so I'm not showing the actual tree, how they have connected, so like a tree structure they have connected. But if you go more in deep dive in the DNS, one of my very advanced research topic, I very work very deeply. There's one product available in the open source called Bind. So anybody who are interested in configuring the DNS by themselves, so Bind is a one product available, open source product in the Linux. Using this product, you can create your own mm, personal DNS server. Okay, but here we are into AWS cloud. So if you ask AWS cloud, do you have any service that give me DNS as a service, where I don't have to configure my DNS? Because if you guys, anybody work from Bind product, is a very big product, lot of very complex, also very interesting, also no doubt. But a lot of things we have to do there, but to configure our own DNS, maybe master DNS or cache DNS or slave, or lots of things available over there. Okay, but you ask AWS, do you have any service for DNS as a service? Okay, where I don't have to configure my DNS. Okay, I just go and create the record. I just go and maintain the database. Otherwise, like you configure web server like this, I don't want to configure my DNS server and all the DNS internal configuration, settings, securities, backups, everything you maintain. Okay, just give me to create my database or create my zone there. So it will say, yes, I have a service that give you DNS as a service. And the name of the service is called Route 53. So Route 53, guys, is a service name for the AWS where you just click once and that's all. Your DNS server configured for us. You don't have to worry about. Okay. So again, final conclusion and summary is summary is, if you want to set up a DNS server, okay, this is the normally we always say, or you want to set up your your database or your zone, and in this zone you want to create a records. Which record? A record, ptr record, ptr record, sorry. All right, ptr record means if you have a name and you want your DNS will provide a service where name can convert to IP. And if you have IP, if you somebody connect to your DNS, either maintained by you or it is maintained by a service called Route 53. Okay, and they come to the server and say, I know the IP, but can you help me to convert the IP into the host name? They will only convert if you create a record called PTR. Like this, we have some more kind of uh, types available. So whenever guys you create a type, they ask you which kind of data, no, sorry, which kind of information you're putting here. Normally we put A type. Okay, we'll again guys a deep dive into this part. Okay, but in the complete summary, guys, if you are maintaining your own DNS server, either configured by you or configured by Route 53, okay, you need a domain. You need a domain. Okay, and obviously this domain should be unique in the world, and this domain will be owned by you. So you have to purchase. So I will guys start my today's class from this topic. Okay, so if you want to create let 1 minute. So if you want to do this practicals, okay, first of all you need a domain. Okay, so guys, for my account I am going to purchase one new domain for demonstration. But guys, if you purchase the domain, even though you have a free tier account, but purchasing the domain is not free, they come with charge. So if you want to purchase, you can purchase. Okay, normally around $12 to $15 per year they charge. Around, if you talk about Indian rupees, around 1,000 rupees per year they charge you. Okay, so if you just go for Route 53, this service you can show as a DNS service and plus domain name registration services. You can go here. 1 minute. And purchase, and lot of practical guys we are going to do from this service. Okay, and here in the domain there's option called a registered domain. Okay, here you can go uh, and purchase a domain, or I can say register a domain. Okay, just click on the register domain. Here they ask you choose the domain name. For example, I'm searching for Linux lwindia.com. They come with $12 per year. So you can say this is unavailable. because this domain is purchased by my company. lwindia.com is our website name. So obviously nobody can in the world can purchase this. But if you try to search some other name like 123, maybe try to check. So it is available, and they are selling guys per year $12. Or if you want to go for other domain, .net $11, .co.uk $9. Some iOS normally very much famous, so $39. So depend guys which TLD, top level domain, you want to associate your name with. So almost all the names available over here. Okay, so you just go and click, and after click and purchase. They ask you how many year you want. I'll just go for 1 year and continue. So guys, even though this account you guys are using a free tier account, but they will charge you guys for domain registration. Okay, and you can put your information in, because when you purchase some domain, you have to put your detail of your personal or your company. I've already put here, and you want nobody in the real world can see your information. You can enable this privacy. All right, so there's a lot of way we can go and find out the information and the owner of this domain, like who own lwindia.com. So contact number, the address will come up. But if you make it private, nobody can from the internet can see about this domain. So by default enable, so you can enable it. Okay, and finally guys, there's somebody come up. Okay, and just click on agree and complete the order. Okay, so guys, for today's demonstration, this part I already did. Already did. And one domain I already purchased today only. So I can show you the further practicals. Anybody who are interested to do the practical with respect to DNS or DNS service, they can go and purchase the domain. But the domain guys, you can use uh, to in your load balancer, your web servers, and XYZ also. I'll show you multiple demo how to use the your name. Right, for example, if you purchase vimal.in, so you can put one website in issue, and you can give the name www.vimal.in. So anybody in the world who can type this name www.vimal.in or xyz to vimal.in, they can reach to your site or your other services. Okay, so that one domain I already purchased guys, but today, so I don't need this, because after you purchase it take around 30 minutes to to process your domain behind the scene. So to save the time, I already purchased, so let me cancel. And if you see guys, just today I purchased the domain, and my domain will gonna expire after a year. Okay, and the domain name that I purchased is called rlinuxworld.com. So this is domain name I purchased. Okay, and how can I purchase, or from where I can purchase the domain name? From any of the domain registers. Okay, so AWS is one of the domain registry. You can purchase from here. You can purchase from GoDaddy, and there's option called transfer domain. You can transfer here and there. There's a different point. So I'm not going for that part here. Okay, so my domain name is purchase, and we are going to create a DNS record for this domain. Okay, so what exactly we are going to do? So now we have a domain name. So we have a domain name that's called rlinuxworld.com. Okay, and my plan is guys, my plan is to create records, or I can say databases, or I can say information of some of the IPs for this particular domain. Okay, one of my plan is I have one computer, let's say IP1, and I want this IP. uh, if somebody want to reach to this IP, rather than they type the IP address, what I want, if they type Vimal, or maybe if they type xyz dot r linuxworld.com, they can reach to this IP. Either they ping or they open from the browser. If they have the website, they can reach it. So I would like to maintain or create this information or the record. So for this, you have to host your domain where in the DNS server. And hosting a domain in the DNS server is known as zone, or hosting a zone. Okay, you have to host a zone in the DNS server. But who maintain DNS server? You don't have to configure. We have to go for managed one. That's called Route 53. Okay, so that is the reason. If you see here on the top, this is called hosted zone. Okay, so if you click here, so guys, as soon as you purchase the domain name from the AWS, they automatic host this zone for you, and they automatically create two records for you. So what is use of this two record, we will discuss. But right now, if I click in this domain name, so guys, this page is called DNS page, or zone hosted page. Okay, or I can say this page where I'm going to create a database. Okay, and if I click here, if I click here, you can see I have a two records, and this is the type we are talking about. This is, so we're talking about a type called E type, or PTI type. So you don't see any type called E and PTI. What is NSSOA we will discuss, but you don't see any type called E type. So you want to create some more record here. There's option called record. Record, you can think like information or the database. If you want to create here, so pretty simple. So I click on the create record and say, if anybody come to xyz dot rlinuxworld.com. So my this DNS server behind the scene that is managed by AWS provide them a IP called 1.2.3.4. You can give any IP where you want to resolve this one. Normally, obviously, you have to give your IP where your service is running, but you can give any of the IP address. Okay. So for doing this demo, what I'm doing here, uh, to show you some interesting practicals, I'm going to launch one of my EC2 instances so that I can show you some other demos also. Okay, so I'm guys launching one computer in Mumbai region. Okay, you guys know how to launch. So I am going to launch one computer here in the Mumbai, and I'm using my AMI. So everything is pre-configured. And for some reason, guys, I'm launching let's say 3 instances, because some of my practical I'm going to use, and we are going to associate some public IP here. Okay, so 3 instances I am launching here. Let's say this is OS DNS 1. Security group, I'm allowing all traffic, so anybody can connect to my web server if they know the IP address. Right, so this part, guys, if they know the IP address. But today my plan is not to connect to this web server with the IP address. My plan is to connect this web server with the name. Which name? This one, xyz.lb.com or linuxworld.com. Okay, so because I don't want anybody have to remember this big IP. Okay, so when I launch my instance, okay, you guys know when you launch the instance, this instance will have some this kind of public IP. So very hard, guys, for the clients to remember. Even though if you notice one thing, Amazon behind the scene also give some name to this IP. This name is called host name or FQDN name, but in the market, guys, normally this kind of name is also known as DNS name. So Amazon has given one DNS name also. So Amazon maintains some kind of DNS server where in your VPC. Guys, if you remember in the VPC, I enable one option called DNS, right? So when you enable option in your VPC, so whenever any computer who launch and that particular VPC and that particular subnet, Amazon will maintain their own DNS. Okay, where they put the information in their DNS domain. If you guys here is amazon.aws.com. But this DNS is maintained by AWS. It is this DNS is owned by owned by AWS. So if you want to give some simple name like vimal.amazon aws.com, you can't give here. They will give the pre-decided name here. But guys, if you are hosting any website here for your company, obviously this name doesn't looks good to provide to your client. Even though you can provide this name to the client, they can open your site, thing will work, no challenge. Okay, but this name is again the FQDN, but it's very complex and doesn't represent your company. So today, guys, I would like to open this website not from this kind of name given by AWS, or not from this IP that is given by the AWS. I want to give my own personal naming convention here. This is called DNS name, or the host name, or the FQDN. Okay, for this I purchased my domain, and in my domain here I'm giving the name. Let me give some realistic name here, www. You can give any name. 1 minute. So it means anybody who come to www.rlinuxworld.com, my DNS will resolve this IP, this name into the IP. And because you're converting the name into the IP, that is reason is called type A. See here, record type called A. There's a lot of different kind of types available, but this type is called A type. That's all. Okay. And guys, you know what? I told you already. Right now here, I am maintaining this domain belongs to me, and I'm configuring my own DNS. Maybe it's managed by Route53, but technically we are configuring our own DNS. We're creating a real records. So this DNS is called master DNS. Okay, and master DNS is the one who always maintain the TTL, time to live. Why? Because normally nobody will directly connect to the master DNS, right? Everybody is normally come from their local DNS. Local means I explain, the this one. For example, if you talk about my laptop, okay, and if you run the ipconfig command, this command will tell me that my internet is connected from some router, wireless router here, and this is the IP my wireless router or modem provided me. But if you run the ifconfig command with hyphen all option, or I can slash all option in your command line of Windows, you will get some extra detail. And what you will get here, okay, that the DNS server name is this one. So for my laptop, my IP is 140. Okay, but my DNS server is this one. And technically, if I try to see here, this is one of my IP of my home modem or the broadband. So technically, okay, or maybe if you connect to your hotspot, most probably you will get the IP address of your hotspot. Okay, so technically from my laptop, if I type www.google.com, my computer says I don't know this name. This name, I need IP of google.com. So my computer will send a request to this IP and say, you are my DNS. That's all. Now this is your duty to give me the IP from the database. They say until this I don't know the information about Google, so they will forward the request on the internet. Somehow there's some way mechanism they will reach to the DNS of the guy who of this company that maintained google.com domain, and they hosted a zone, and they ask in the database, do you have any information for this name? If you have, can you provide the IP? This IP come to this guy, your local DNS, or create a cache here and provide to this guy. Okay, and how can I see this information? There's a way. So guys, in the command line in Windows, if you if you just try to ping google.com, okay, you will see, guys, when you connect to this name, you will always your name first convert to IP. But who is helping to convert? Your local DNS. But technically, this local DNS is not the real DNS. And guys, this kind of DNS is known as non-authoritative DNS. They are not the actual authority of the google.com. But the actual Google DNS that is managed by Google company, actually, we can't go there, see there, update there. They are known as authority or the master DNS. Okay, so they only forward the request and cache the request. And how much time they cache depend how much time they ask them to cache. So they always send the TTL. And how can I see this? So there's a command, guys, very famous command. So if you want to find the IP of some name, ping is a simple command you can use, but there's a specialized command for this called ns lookup. Okay, because guys, DNS server is also known as name server, because they maintain the name for the computers. So either you can say DNS server or either you can say name server is same thing. So that's what the command also says. I am looking up from the DNS. Okay, for this. And what you see here, okay, this command say that if I have contact to your DNS server, by chance this DNS server is non-authoritative, they don't have an authority for this domain, but they somehow go forward and find the IP of the Google, and this what the IP of the Google they found for us. Okay, so ns lookup, guys, command is the one through which you can see. But when this your local DNS server reach to main Google DNS, and that Google DNS give this IP address, so they give this information. Plus, they also give one more information to this your local DNS or a cache DNS. That's called TTL. Okay, how much TTL they give you? So we can see this. So this option here is called -d bug. Okay. So in NS lookup, guys, we have option called -debug. So if you use this option, you will get some extra detail also what information sent by DNS of google.com for this particular name. One of the information they send is this IP, but some more information they will send you. If you guys, has lots of information they send you actually. Okay, but one of the information that they send to you is they say you ask me for this name, right? And what you ask me, you ask me a type, means you want to convert this name into the IP address, and I answered to you that this is the IP of google.com. Plus I have send you one more thing, and that thing is called TTL. This 3 minute 37 seconds. Okay, and 37 seconds. If you again run this command, okay, 3 minute 2 minute 56 seconds. Again, if you run the command, if you say time is decreasing, 31 second. Again run 45 second. 2 minute 45 second. Okay, if you again run 23 second, time is decreasing. Okay, so what I mean by this, it means it means you now, guys, whenever you are getting these IPs, you are getting your IP information from your local DNS, and local DNS updating you, in my case my Windows, to my IP 140, that I am a known authority. I am giving this information for my caches, and in my caches this information is keep for this more second. After this I will remove my caches. Okay, and in this case I will again go back to main DNS server of Google, whatever IP they provide me, or they might be changed there. I will get the latest information and again provide it to you. But technically, none of the computer, laptops or mobile phone directly hit to the main DNS. They have a multiple cache server behind the scene come up. Okay, come up. So maybe my modem also connect to my ISP DNS. My ISP DNS will connect to other guys, and a lot of hopes we might have. So again, this we don't have to again discuss so much in this train. Okay, but this debugger is great. They give you lots of information about part of the thing. But same thing, if you see here, if you look up for www.rlinuxworld.com, see this domain I purchased. Okay, so ns lookup command, guys, will go to the DNS of this domain name, and by chance this DNS is going to managed by us, but I know till now In my record, I don't have any information for this guy because I haven't saved till yet. So if I ask manual lookup command, they say we don't have any information about this FQDN or this name. And who replied to you? My local DNS, my modem here. Well, my modem will go somewhere, reach to this guy, reach to the again actual DNS that is managed actually by us, but they found nothing there. But as soon as save, this record have is saved, and if you see here now in my DNS, okay, in my DNS, one record has been saved. Now anybody in the real world, anywhere in the world, because this is a public DNS, okay, who look up for this name, they will find this IP. Okay, so if you look up for this name, see here, this IP come up. Or maybe this IP real or live, or you can put anybody else IP. There is no challenge, you can put it, but anybody who come connect to this name will connect to this IP. And this IP is actually IP of your issued instance. So anybody who know the IP, they can save a site. But now you guys don't have to put your IP address. You can use your linuxworld.com. Now onwards, you can give your own personal domain name or the host name. I see here, same output come up. Same output come up. Okay, so it is your choice which name you would like to give. Guys, normally it is a facility of your browser. Whenever guys any website name start for www, your browser doesn't show you. It doesn't means you are connected without the name. Even if you copy your name and paste in the notepad, you actually see the complete name. Okay, so that is a one small information from my side. So you can give any name, guys, or whatever you feel like. Okay, so this is one information here. Okay, one more benefit, guys, you can get from the DNS. Here is, but one more thing I just want to tell you here is, if you run the debug command, okay, what you will see, okay, debug command, you can see we query for um, we query for this name, okay, and this IP come up, and the 201 is the total number of TTL. Now, guys, if you again keep on hitting, your name, it won't go to main DNS server, like in my case, Route 53, and you are getting this information from a local DNS. Okay, till this time, 3:38 second left. If you again hit, okay, um, where it is, 1 minute. Where the time goes, wherever they would be, right? But you can, yeah, 1:57 left. But after you can 00, again is reset to the time. But you can change the timer here. Just go and edit, and here you can set the timer. So if I set the timer 30 seconds, your TTL will maintain in in the DNS resolver. Technically, they're talking about your cache server, or sometimes your web browser also maintain the caches. Okay, so sometimes web browser also maintain the caches of your IP address. So from the browser, if you refresh, they again don't go to DNS. It will improve the performance, obviously, of converting your IP. So in both the cases, your cache timing would be 30 seconds. Okay, and guys, there is one more interesting topic in the DNS called routing policy. We are going to discuss about these routing policy in very detail. Vetted, geolocation, latency, all the things. Right now my plan is is to first give you some vocabulary of the DNS. Okay, one more thing I just want to tell you here is, um, I want to tell you here is 1 minute. That is, guys, if you sometime sometime if you take the example of ELB, elastic load balancer. Okay, so whenever you sorry, whenever you create a load balancer, okay, load balancer guys, they always give one host name to you. See here, they give one host name to you, technical DNS name. And again guys, this DNS name they maintain in the Amazon domain. So they have the complete authority. We can't go and change this name. There's no option available to change the name. And why they give the name? Because because uh, if you try to again look up and as look up this name, okay, so so technically behind the scene your local DNS go and contact to Amazon DNS server that is managed by their own company, and they say for this host name we have provided this IP. Okay, and guys, normally when you create a load balancer, load balancer, one of the thing that is sometimes very challenging in the load balancer is might not be sometime might not affect you, but in most of the time that might be challenging. That next time maybe IP might change. Okay, the IP, because this name and what are IP assigned to your load balancer is completely managed by AWS, and this IP is dynamic. This IP will change any point in time, and that is one of the reference guys I already explained you in the network load balancer. So guys, in the ALB CLB, IP might change. Obviously your name won't change, name will fix, but IP might change. But in the network load balancer, IP is fixed. They won't change, because in the network load balancer we get the IP from EIP. EIP means static IP. Okay, but let's say we are using CLB or or maybe NLB also. We are interested to use the name. I don't want to give my IP to my customer. They want to, they can't remember this IP. But obviously this big name is also not not so much useful. Okay, so technically what I'm talking about, technically I'm talking about, if you want to give a some simpler name to your load balancer, and challenge is your IP also change. If IP is fixed, then giving the name, simple name would be very simple. What can I do? I can just go here, create one more record. I can say here my load balancer dot rlinuxpert.com, and whatever IP that is fixed, we can write here. Because we know my load balancer IP is not changing. But in CLB or in ALB, IP is not fixed, it will change. So maybe my customer who will know my name, mylb.com, they try to connect this IP change, they won't able to connect to the load balancer. Okay, that is a reason. That is a reason, guys. If you have this kind of scenario where you want to give some simple name to this guy, and you have a scenario IP might change, like in CLB or ALB, it will change. Okay, in this scenario, there's options they have provided is called aliases. Aliases. Okay, and this aliases will give us a facility in the DNS server and say if whatever name you want to give in your domain name, if anybody come to this name, I will send your traffic to this guy. Okay, I will route your traffic to the endpoint. You have to tell me where you want to send, which service you want to send. So you want to send to network load balancer or or elastic beans we'll discuss, or application or classic load balancer. So in my case, this is my application classic load balancer. Which region they are running? So Mike, I think they are running in Mumbai region. What is the name of your load balancer? So my load balancer is 169.0.6.1. So it's 169.0.6.1. This one. That's all. Okay. So in this case, in this case, one minute, let me share this screen. In this case, this is my classic load balancer or maybe application load balancer. Okay, the IP will change maybe in the future. This is the way the Amazon work behind the scene, but we don't have a concern about. Okay, my client neither has to remember this IP neither has to remember this big name. They will remember only my lb.r.linuxwork.com. That's all. Okay, and that's all we get recorded. And on the fly, whenever the client guys hit to this name, even though if you just try to find also, okay, if anybody try to hit this name, let me use ns lookup to for testing this name, it will again guys resolve to the same IP. See here. Okay, so nobody has to remember this big name. So normally guys, like if you go to RDS also, databases, they also give some bigger name. So you don't want your developer or your customer have to remember this bigger name. All right, and there might be possibility you are using the resources of AWS, like ELB is one of the resources of AWS, or RDS is one of the resources of AWS, and you think the IP also change. If this is the scenario, then you have to use a concept called aliases here. But there's one more concept that is very similar like aliases, and that concept is called CNAME. Okay, there's a very similar like aliases, but have a different use case. Okay, so there's one concept guys also in the DNS. Okay, aliases is not actually a core concept of DNS. It is one of the facility by chance AWS is giving to us, through which they can very easily integrate route services with the default with the other services like RDS or like ELB here, the way I explained. So alias is not actually core concept of the DNS. If you go to any other DNS, like it is configured by you, like bind DNS product or something like this is not the actual concept normally typically in the DNS available. Like AWS give this concept just to very easily integrate Route 53 with services the way I explained here. Okay, but if you have a requirement, if you requirement that you have some name, host name, and the host name is very big, and you think your name is very harder to memorize by the clients, so you can give one more host name of that host name. And this time you can give us one simpler host name. Okay, so it is something like this. Initially you have a host name, sorry, you have some IP address, and maybe due to some kind of management you have given this IP address some bigger host name, like host name 1, and this host name is very bigger, and it's very for us it's very hard to tell the customer, because the customer won't able to type and remember this bigger name. So this bigger name, host 1, we can give one more name that is called some simpler or very user friendly name. If you do so, then this is called canonical name, CNAME. Okay, so if you use the IP and and the host name and host name IP is called A or PTR record, and this type is called canonical name. Let me give very interesting example for this. I think everybody know what is www.gmail.com. And you guys know whenever you connect to gmail.com, behind the scene they convert into IP. But you know what? Actually, it's not like this. Okay, whenever you connect to gmail.com, this is not the real name actually. This name convert into a one bigger name called mail.google.com, and this is also not a actual name. This name is convert into google uh, dot l dot google mail or google mail dot l dot google. It's some bigger name they have, and this name has actually IP address. Okay, so Google have a lot of DNS or mail servers. Okay, so they want to maintain all the IP, and they want every IP they want to give some unique names, so they have some given some bigger name, then this name they give one smaller name, and this name also they try to give a small name that look like a normal website. So multiple canonical name or nickname they have created. We can check this also. So if you run the ns lookup command again, and ask, can you tell me the name of gmail.com? So they say wgmail.com is actually a name of mail.google.com, and this name is actually as a nickname of googlemail.l.google.com, and this guy has this IP address. But technically, if you connect with any of the guys, finally you connect to this guy. But actual name is this one, googlemail.l.google.com. Okay, and this name we have given one nickname called mail.google.com, and mail.google we give a nickname called www.gmail.com. Okay, and this nickname is called C name, canonical name. Normally, in the typical classic DNS, canonical name is exactly equals to nickname, but nickname is not right word. Is actually exactly equal to aliases. Actually, I'm talking about uh, typical DNS softwares. But in AWS, both the name has a different meaning. So guys, again, I'm repeating with the AWS perspective, a Route 53 perspective. By chance, they differentiate these two terms. Aliases is a different concept, and canonical name is a different concept. Okay, difference is aliases we only can use with the AWS internal services, like like ELB or maybe RDS, the services that I told to you. And canonical name we can use with any of the name. For example, let's say this is the name we have given, my lb.linuxworld.com, and sorry, this one, www.rlinuxworld.com. And we think this is a very bigger name. We can give some shorter name for this. Okay, for this I can just go and create the record. Okay, and we can say we would like to change my record type. I can go for alias. Why? Because www.linuxworld.com is not a domain of AWS. Its domain is either managed by us, maybe in the AWS or maybe other company, maybe in the GoDaddy. Okay, so it would be anywhere. So if you think this domain name or domain related computer that has a bigger name would be anywhere, there is no meaning to create alias, because otherwise always connect to one of the service of AWS. Okay, but our name or the service is not here. So here in this case, I can create a C name, traffic route to other domain name, right? C name. And here, guys, if you see it, the value is again they're asking, not the IP address, they're asking the value. So let's say this is the bigger name. I want to give this guy a small name called A. And obviously, you have to always associate with their domain name. Domain name we have to always give. Or you can give other domain name also, whatever you have purchased. Okay. So this domain name we have here. Okay. And let me create. So anybody who wanted to go to this guy, they can also type a.r linuxworld.com. Obviously, WWW is already a very smaller name, but maybe there might possibly have a bigger name. That is a great use case when you have to use C name record type. It's called canonical name. Okay. So uh, so reset type of key name with the DNS. Oh, 1 minute. I think we have to give some different domain. Yeah. No, what was there? 1 minute. 1 minute. www is already created. Sorry. It's already created. Um, create record. Oh, guys, actually, I'm giving the wrong. This is the A dot this one, and the value would be www, right? Obviously. Okay, this will value. So anybody who come for this name, this is not the real name. It is a canonical name. Okay, of this guy, and this guy will have the IP address. Okay, and this record we already have. So this record has been created. So a lot of guys company use this one. One of the good example I show you is gmail.com. Okay, so if you see guys is a canonical name. So now it means if you use this IP or you use this name or you use this name, finally you connect to this IP only. Okay, but let me try with this IP. So if you use NS lookup, with this IP, you will again lend it to the same IP guys. Sometime it takes some time to connect. Okay, now you can see again lend it to the IP. So you ask for this, but this will come. Okay, this just as an alias. And guys, alias is general concept, and alias is exactly equals to canonical name. If you talk about the any of the DNS command or DNS product in the market. But in the AWS world, alias and the canonical name has a different meaning. Just keep this thing in mind. Otherwise, in the real world of the DNS, both has the same meaning. That is the reason they use the word aliases. But for the AWS perspective, this is called canonical name, or you can say the nickname. Okay, so that this is again one of the type. Like this, guys, every type is doing for you. So DNS is like a database who give some information mostly related to the computer IPs, related to computer IPs. Okay, so um, um, so we can use A record, means to convert the IP name into the IP address. You can PTI record if you want to map IP to the name. Okay, C name like this text MX, SRV, SPF, lots of different kind of things you can put in the DNS. I will take some more of the example in my next discussion over here. Okay, but the main thing in the DNS where I can say you can use DNS DNS to work as a load balancer also. Okay, the where the routing policy come in play. Okay, very important topic, especially latency geo application weighted. Okay, where you can use DNS um, for to work as a load balancer, plus not as a load balancer, to maybe more powerful. Some of the feature they have very unique, might not be as such available in load balancer also. And there are a lot of services in the AWS cloud. Behind the scene, they use a routing policy of the DNS. So that if you remember, we talk about cloud front. Okay, where I talk about edge location, and I told you customer automatic guys able to detect the nearest edge location wherever you are in the world. So how they come to know the nearest edge location? Okay, so I'm in the, for example, in my city, how I know my nearest edge location maybe in this state or this city. Okay, so here the DNS gonna help them. So maybe tomorrow class, guys, when I go for latency geo replication, I will talk about that part also, and we can also manually configure that part. Okay, and my next service like geo global accelerator also use DNS a lot behind the scene. It's not visible, but they use DNS behind the scene. So guys, that's all for today. Topic is not yet complete. We have talk. I think half more class I need in this topic. Topic to be completed fully. So tomorrow, guys, remaining part we'll discuss tomorrow, and maybe global accelerator also, guys. We can very easily complete tomorrow. So I guys try to explain the DNS from very basics, so that everybody can get some idea what exactly happening behind this. But in the simple term, if you want to give your site, your server a name, it's called host name or DNS name or FQDN name, you have to purchase first domain name. If you want, if you want uh, that anybody can connect you publicly, then only you can purchase a domain name. Obviously you have to pay. But if you have your own private world, you can create your own private DNS where you can give any domain name like example.com. There you don't have to purchase. So maybe some of the example I will pick about the private domain name, but that is not accessible from the internet. It is like a public private IP address concept. But whatever domain name you purchase, either public or private, right, in your domain, any of the record you want to create, that will be your choice. Is a www or mail or xyz you want to, whatever you want to create, you can create with whatever IP you want to associate. It's called map. That would be your choice. So that's all, guys, for today. We'll complete this topic tomorrow. Any questions, any query, if you have, you guys can ask me. Can I transfer my domain from GoDaddy to AWS? Answer yes, guys. Almost any domain you can transfer from one registrar um, to other. I can say DNS server. Okay, any DNS server you can transform here to there. But if you want to transfer the domain, that it is all, guys. I believe it is more about the conditions and the policy of that particular domain registry. So DNS server you can transfer here and there, but domain name it or uh, depend upon the policies whatever you sign with the respective domain registries. Yes, Weber, you can associate multiple IP to the DNS. This is one of the practical I am going to show you tomorrow. Yes, somebody asked me, does if you connect www.facebook.com or fb.com, we can connect to same site. So does they buy multiple domain? Answer yes. So facebook.com is a different domain. fb.com is a different domain. So this company have buy both the domain and both the domain name, respective name, full name, I call it www. They have connected to the same IP or they connected to same load balance. Yes, Ajay, you are right. Writing routing policy is very important. Tomorrow, guys, I will invest more time in the routing policy. Can we manage our own master data? That's what Umesh we are doing. So whatever I'm showing you here, you are managing your own master data. So anybody who create your own record, right? So if you're creating your own record, you're giving your own name. Technically, it is known as you are maintaining your own master DNS. Okay, here we haven't configured the DNS, but we are maintaining or managing our own DNS database or records. What do you mean by lookup? Lookup, Akash, means finding something, right? So in the DNS, we are we are uh, we are finding some information that typically known as lookup. Yes, I use instead of alias, we can use CNAME also for load balancer. By using the alias, give some extra facility also in the AWS. What is the extra facility in the alias in the AWS? I will talk tomorrow. Yes, Tushar, 53 has some significance in the Route 53. Normally, DNS server work on port number 53. So the Route 53 name come from that one. Because DNS by default, so uh, by default work on port number 53. So one minute. 8.8.8, Nishant, is a master DNS. No, I can say 8.8 is not actually master. It is a one technically, if you talk about, because now we know some extra term. So 8.8.8 is a public DNS Google has created. Okay, but it is actually working as a forward and the cache DNS. Okay, typically they don't maintain any record. Okay, and google.com record is also maintained by different guys actually. So 8.8.8 is not actually authoritative or authorized, or I can say master DNS for any of the domain. As per as I know, they actually work like a uh, cache or forward DNS. So whatever you guys ask 8.8.8, they will always go and find from somewhere else. Uh, Yadvi, I think the charge $12 for this is for year. If you use for 1 minute or for 1 year, the charge is same, right? So this particular thing is not pay as we go model. Okay, so if you purchase a domain, they charge you $12 or $15, whatever kind of TLD you use. That's all. So one doubt: can we add load balancer in value in the option CNAME? Yes, yes, Ritesh, you can add. Okay, and that is known as CNAME. You to use a CNAME to add. So that's why, guys. This topic is not complete. So remaining guys, a lot of doubts will be covered tomorrow. Routing policy is very important concept of DNS. We'll see tomorrow. That's why I see you. Bye. Somebody asked me Bitlink. Bitlink, guys. Bitlink also behind the scene using completely DNS. So there's some kind of program we can return random values we provide with fixed domain name. Okay, so you can give ABC, ABCD, ABCE. Okay, and we create a database for every URL. Or there's some kind of concept called hashing also they use. Okay, so some program they created, whatever hash value they come up, they store in the DNS and that name they give to us. But if you notice, guys, in the Bitlink, the domain name is also always fixed, bitly.com or something, that the host name always fixed. That's all, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye. Take care.